Yo, get out of here with them weak ass shoes, yo.
Balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep in love. I'm talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep in love.
What's up, Balls Deep fam? To another episode of Balls Deep with Devin Jovan. We're fresh off of 4th of July weekend, so happy 4th to you guys, or happy belated 4th to you guys. I had an adventurous weekend, you can say. I almost died.
Story time?
It might be story time, but before story time, how was your 4th of July?
Pretty chill. I didn't really do nothing. It seemed like nobody really had any plans, so I was like, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
And I just kind of chilled. I just took my, nice little Sunday to relax and play some video games, watch some movies and TV. That's basically it.
Yeah, that was me for the most part, honestly, because obviously we do something usually every 4th of July. Whether that be kickball, flag football. But we didn't do anything this year, and it was primarily because of the weather. It was supposed to rain all day.
Yeah.
And
it was shitty.
And then all of a sudden it decided, hey, we're not going to rain at all. So, to start my day, I actually slept my day away. It's funny thing is, I woke up at like 11:30, and
The dream.
Huh?
The dream.
So I woke up at 11:30. I let my dog out, and I ate like a sugar donut from the bakery, and just went back to sleep for 3 hours.
What bakeries you go to?
Some Mexican bakery in Meriden. So
them sugar donuts be hitting.
For sure, yeah. But I went to bed for like 3 more hours. Then when I realized it wasn't going to rain, I went to go see my mom and my dad. So story time. This is where I almost died. So my dad had some fireworks, so he's shooting them off like he does every year. But shit went left real quick. So we're all watching the fireworks, right? His family surrounding, and I have my nephew on my left, and I have my nephew on my lap. So for those that don't know, I have 3 nephews. So what happened was, shooting up the fireworks, pew, 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 pew. And then all of a sudden the one that's going off just stops. So we were like, oh, it's done, next one. Then it goes boom, and bro, when I say my heart dropped. Then my sister goes, I didn't like that one. And as soon as she said that shit, bro, it went phew and hit the fucking house, bro. And once I seen that shit, I started dipping. Like, I picked...
Shit sideways?
Bro, I took my nephew on my lap and started running, bro. As soon as I seen it fucking go by,
You put the Kevin Hart, you threw the baby to the side and tried to get away?
No, I grabbed him and I ran with him. And then my nephew that was sitting next to me see me run, so he started chasing me. But, bro, the shit started going, like, all over the place. And I guess what happened was my dad was setting it on a chair to give it, like, a flat surface. And it tipped over. Like, fucking... After he let it tipped over. So, but, bro, it almost ended my life. Not just my life. It almost ended our lives. Like, it could have been worse. But that shit was definitely a movie. That shit was funny. So... be safe out there with them fireworks. You don't want to end up like JPP.
At one point, nobody knew why anybody was running. They just saw people
Bro,
running,
we did. Well, yeah, I didn't look. Listen, that's that fight or flight mode, bro. You gotta dip now. Ask questions later. Like there's no time. But once I seen that firework fly, I was gone. Like, so. Yeah, just be safe out there with them fireworks. They're no joke, but that definitely was hilarious. We definitely look like not flying cockroaches. We look like cockroaches, like just running. That's how funny it was. But I hope you guys had a wonderful and adventurous 4th of July as me and Jovan.
Maybe not as.
But hey, we apologize for not dropping an episode last week after the bonus episode. We had a lot of technical difficulties and scheduling conflicts. We actually had this technical difficulty right before we recorded this. So luckily, or hopefully, it just holds pat and we're good. But before we get started, go tune into our Tyshawn James interview. It was a pleasure having him on the show. He's a humble kid. He has his head on straight, and he seems like he's going places. He's talented, and just go show support, honestly. Yeah, and if you're an athlete out there, congrats to you guys. NCAA just officially allowed you guys to get paid on your name and likeliness, which was long overdue. But if you're interested in being on the show for an interview, hit us up on Instagram, ballsdeep_pod. We're more than welcome to have you on the show and shine some light on your name and get your name out there and things of that nature. So if you're interested, just hit us up. But make sure to like, follow, subscribe if you haven't already to our Instagram page or even social medias. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. And if you listen to the audio anywhere, leave us a review, please, and we'll read it on the pod. But like I said, go show love to Tyshawn. It was dope. It was dope having him.
Yeah, that was one of the more fun episodes that we've recorded. For me, at least. I mean, it was fun just be talking to him and just have a genuine conversation, and learn about him. That was definitely one of the more fun episodes that I feel like we recorded. So I think you guys will definitely enjoy watching it. So go watch that.
It definitely was interesting because it was our first interview, so it was different. So it was just more. Yeah, I feel like when I look back at it, I could have done better in terms of as an interviewer. But it was my first interview, so it was more of a learning curve at that. But it was dope having someone that I already knew, so I felt a little bit more comfortable in doing so. But it definitely, even though I knew him prior to the interview, I got to know him more in depth because of the interview. And I got to learn more behind the decisions that, I knew the results of, but I didn't know the process behind it. Like why he chose CCSU and things of that nature. So that was dope. So I'm interested in doing more of those. You don't necessarily have to be an athlete. You can just be someone that came out and is working in sports. Like just if you're working in sports, or you an athlete and your goal is to be a professional athlete, or you're a professional athlete, hit us up. We're interested. We want to interview you. So it's dope because it allows fans from similar backgrounds to be able to relate to you, and you can give advice, and like they can look at your story and like, hey, if he made it or if she made it, I can make it. So it's all about motivating and inspiring the next generation. That's that. But that's that. We're hopping into some sports, and I guess we can start off with the UFC 264 because it's this upcoming weekend. Poirier McGregor 3. I know we touched on it in the past, but I want to get into it right now. So first off, who do you have in the fight? And second off, what's your level of excitement for the the trilogy?
My level of excitement is high. I mean, it's as high as it is for really any of these fights. I mean, obviously, I feel like anytime UFC does really good with their promotions, especially lately. I feel like they've been having like really stacked cards lately. But even then, they just do really good at getting the right fights, the fights people want to see that are also the correct fights. Although obviously we know it's obvious Dustin Poirier could be fighting for a championship right now, We know he wants to fight McGregor for the money right now because, that's the cash cow. We don't know how much longer he will be the cash cow, especially if Poirier ends up, beating him again, and especially if it's by way of knockout again.
It will be.
But with that but with that being said,
I'm saying just knockout in general. It'll end in knockout.
Yeah. But with that being said, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm excited as hell, as always for these fights. But it's been tough for me to really figure out who I want to pick this fight for. And only because, if you'd asked me this question maybe like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I probably would have easily said Poirier. But I feel like we're getting a little bit of a different McGregor leading up to this fight, at least in terms of like the mindset. He seems like I said, I don't know, but he seems like he's kind of like that old McGregor, the guy who was hungry. He's a little bit more humble than that guy, but he seems like he's hungry again. He seems like, it's really important to him. Even Dana White said, like, he realizes this might honestly be one of the biggest fights of his career at this point, because obviously he's fought for titles, those are huge fights, but in terms of continuing on, continuing your legacy, this is a huge fight, because I feel like honestly this is make or break for him. I'm not saying that he can't lose this fight and still continue on and be great, but obviously the immediate opportunity for a championship is going to arise if he beats Dustin Poirier.
No question.
Obviously, he maintains his status as the cash cow if he beats Dustin Poirier, and in a convincing fashion. Everybody still wants to see him. You know what I mean? So, I think this is one of the biggest fights of his career. So he seems hungry again. But Dustin Poirier just looks good. I was talking to Nico about it a little bit. I was telling him how McGregor didn't seem hungry anymore. And Nico was like, it's true, but people are also starting to figure him out, which is very true. So, I don't know. I'm looking for this to be a good fight, hopefully. But I think that ultimately Poirier will take it. And I think he kind of explained it perfectly, because I completely agree with the way Poirier put it. If this is going to be a short fight, McGregor's got as good a chance as anybody, because he can, knock out guys left and right. That's fine. He's one of the best strikers in the game. But when it starts to get down to the nitty-gritty, 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 5 rounds, and you having to really just, take out every ounce's blood and sweat of your body just to win that fight, I don't know that McGregor is digging that as deep as Dustin Poirier. And so that's where I think the difference is between these two fighters, and I think Dustin Poirier ends up taking it again. And I do think either which way it goes, I think it ends quick. But yeah, I got Dustin Poirier winning.
Listen, I truly hate you, because you just took the words right out of my mouth with your last statement. Because I was just gonna say, the fight lasts 3 rounds or less, I see McGregor taking it. If it lasts anywhere, I was gonna say if it goes 4 or 5 rounds, I see Poirier taking it. But that 3rd round is really up for grabs, to be honest. Like, if it's quick, it's McGregor. But if it's not, it's Poirier. But I was tossing back and forth with this decision. So at first, I was like I've mentioned before, I was like, you can't go against McGregor. You can't go against McGregor. But then I thought about it and I was like, but they did just fight in January. It's only July. Like, how much of an adjustment can you truly make in short periods of time? So you can. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm saying how much of a difference can he truly make? So I'm thinking, I was like, he managed to do it against Nate Diaz, right? So when I said that, I was like, okay, McGregor. I'm back on Team McGregor. I'm back on Team McGregor. And then I thought about it again. I was like, he doesn't seem like he has the same mentality, like Nico said, as the old McGregor. He hasn't seemed like the same McGregor that we are accustomed to. So then I was like, all right, Team Poirier. And then I just realized, I truly think McGregor is going to win. And the reason why I think so, it's not because I don't trust Dustin Poirier. I truly do. I just think McGregor truly makes the adjustments. that he necessarily does bouncing back from a loss. And the one thing that was working against him in the second fight was the leg kicks. In my opinion, he won round one. He won round one, but the end all be all was the leg kicks. That's what hurt him, and that's because he was so stationary, right? Yeah. And my thing is now to make an adjustment for the third fight, you're going to check kicks. Like you're going to be worried about the leg kicks, and if that's the main reason why Poirier won that fight, because it ultimately allowed him to get to McGregor and freaking knock him out, because prior to that, McGregor was able to counter just fine. So
yeah, he basically slowed his mobility.
Yeah, he 100%. Immobilized him and then was just able to just knock him out. So if McGregor checks those now, right? How do you win? Like, how do you win that fight? So the only way I can see him winning that fight is taking him down and submitting him. And that's why I said if it goes 4 or 5 rounds, I see Poirier taking it, because I think that's where it's gonna it's gonna happen. Because McGregor is gonna be tired, and he's gonna even be more tired if he takes him down and obviously gives away more energy in terms of trying to defend that off. But honestly, McGregor, I think he's in his bag, and the reason why I say that is because if you just watch leading up to the second fight, his interviews, he seemed humble. He didn't seem like the same old McGregor, but he rarely talked about Poirier. And when he did talk about Poirier, he's talking about how great of a fighter he was and things of that nature. But in reality, he was talking about the possibility of fighting Khabib. He was talking, and there was rumors that he was, about to fight Manny Pacquiao in a boxing fight. And you can truly, and now, like, that it's all over, you can tell he was really training for a boxing fight. Like, I didn't know about this, but he was literally training for a boxing fight all the way up until the Poirier fight was announced. And then once the Poirier fight was announced, he just jumped into training for that fight. But most of his training was focused on boxing. And when you watch the second fight, that's why he wasn't moving around that much, and he was countering so efficiently, was because he was training for boxing. So his hands were lethal, but he wasn't checking the kicks like he should. So that's why I'm going McGregor. But before we go past that, there was a stat that I think the UFC just spit out, or I think it was ESPN MMA, about a stat about McGregor. So they said the average UFC fighter has recorded 1 knockdown for every 48 minutes and 29 seconds in the octagon. Conor McGregor has averaged 1 knockdown every 8 minutes and 16 seconds. That's the record for fastest rate in UFC history, minimum 10 fights. So, and in the second fight, you can tell he stunned Poirier in the first round a bit, yeah, but he didn't take advantage of it. And after that, it was all she wrote, because Poirier just took over.
I definitely think he's more than capable of making the adjustments to beat Poirier. But like you said, you said the only way you think he beats him is taking him down. I definitely think he beats him taking him down, but I think he's just as capable of beating him standing up. When you talk about like the Nate Diaz fight and stuff and things like that, I don't think there was really much adjustments that he had to make after the first fight. Obviously, he lost that first fight, but he was beating Nate Diaz up, and ultimately it just came down to the fact that he was a higher weight. He couldn't really knock him out like he thought he'd be able to, and McGregor was exhausted and got choked out. I think the second fight between him and Nate Diaz was even closer than the first one was. And some people argue that Nate Diaz won that one as well by decision. But at the same time, I think that, I don't know. I definitely think there's some adjustments to be made. He was very stationary in that first fight. And I think he's more than capable of, getting there and beating Dustin Poirier. But I think Dustin Poirier is going to really just, like I said, get into him and tire him out, because he knows how to beat McGregor now. I feel like a lot of people do, and he even said it, like, McGregor was saying, first guy to take take somebody else down is Dustin.
I didn't like that statement because that just shows a sign of weakness.
Well, just exactly what Dustin Poirier said. He said, he's like, that's a sign of insecurity, really. I mean, it's mixed martial arts for a reason. And so, I mean, I don't know what the game plan is for Dustin Poirier, but he goes to the ground, he wins that fight, and I think he's more than capable of even taking the fight on the feet. So it just doesn't look good for McGregor.
I'm not saying that he's not capable of taking the fight on the feet. I just think, because clearly he finished it on the feet last fight. I'm just saying, I think his best chance is on the ground against McGregor, because
100%.
especially because
anybody's best chance.
Yeah, well, yeah,
anybody's best chance against him is on the ground.
That's the main reason why I was pointing out. But I just think the adjustments that McGregor's going to make is going to benefit him on like standing up. We already know his track record of being on the ground. It's not good. But standing up, he was already one of the best strikers in the UFC. So now the adjustments that he's going to make with the leg kicks and things of that nature, I just think it's his best chance, Poirier's best chance to win is on the ground. Now, I just seen some clips of McGregor, and he seems like he's got that mentality of like you mentioned before, the older Conor McGregor. Because he had me laughing because he sent a voice message on Twitter to Dustin Poirier. He's like, Dustin, P-head. He's like, I'm coming for you. And that just gives me like the nostalgia, the old school Conor McGregor. And it just put a smile on my face because I was like, oh, he means business. And the true reason why I think I'm going to pick McGregor, though, is because he truly has more on the line than Dustin Poirier. Because, like you mentioned, if should McGregor lose this fight, what's next for him? Because you can't really market him as a top lightweight in the division anymore because he doesn't look like it as late. And who does he fight next? Like, I honestly think his best fight would be the trilogy against Nate Diaz. That might be his best fight in terms of money and in terms of redemption. Now, if he doesn't fight Nate Diaz, who else does he fight? You probably think of a Tony Ferguson, and that fight alone, I obviously would pick McGregor, but that might end Tony Ferguson's career in the UFC. But those are the two options I can think of off the top of my head. If not, then he's going to go to boxing and get money that way. But if Poirier loses, or should he lose, McGregor gets the fight against Oliveira, which makes sense because it seems like this is the number one contender fight. And Poirier could sit back and fight a Gaethje or a Chandler or even anyone else within that top five in that division, and still find his way to get back to that championship. Because right now, although Oliveira is the champion in the division, we know who the number one lightweight is that's active, which is Poirier, and it's no question. So like that's why they were saying like he's the true champion even though he doesn't have the belt. And that's why he didn't really care about taking this fight. So I just think McGregor has more on the line, and I think that's why he's going to come in a little bit hungrier and try to win.
And when I say his MMA career is on the line, like I think even if he lost, he could still revamp himself. I think it's more than possible, but because he only has 5 losses. His opponent already has 6. Like Dustin Poirier has 6 losses, still one of the best, in the game right now. So it's not McGregor's lost too much. I think it's more than possible for him to revamp his career, just in terms of the mindset of how he is, though. I just wouldn't see it happening if he lost. And that's why I think it's important to him that he does win. Because I feel like he feels like if he loses, he'd rather just walk away and, like you said, just get a quick cash grab in boxing against, like, a Pacquiao or something. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So,
But that also hurts him, too, if he loses. Now, the fights that he would have been able to make in boxing wouldn't necessarily be as big because he loses. Especially if he loses by knockout again. Now his name is kind of blemished in terms of striking and boxing in a sense. So now maybe the fights aren't as big as they could have been. Not saying they won't because he's Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
I think his name itself carries a lot of weight, but I think it'll hurt him and his money or his opportunities like that. So I think that's why he's gonna come in hungry and he's gonna win in my prediction. But I think he has a lot on the line in this instance because what you're saying, he doesn't seem like the same Conor McGregor. It's almost like when you talk about Tyron Woodley. His coach saying that he doesn't seem the same, and if you want to fight, you have to have that certain mentality. It seems like Conor McGregor doesn't have that mentality anymore. And it's like Dana White said, he's not foaming at the mouth anymore. He's not the same hungry McGregor that we're accustomed to. But he loves fighting, and he loves money. So he's not going to give up on it. So
no, I agree. And also, I mean, either way it goes. I mean, we got a stacked card.
Yes.
There's going to be a great fight. I'm excited.
To be honest, there's going to be a lot of finishes on this card.
Yes,
there's not going to be many fights, whether it's prelims, main card, that are going to go to decision. And I'm just upset that I work on Saturday because I feel like I'm going to miss some fights. And
dude,
I don't want to.
Yeah. Just looking at the main card alone, I see at least 3 out of the 5 fights not going the distance.
I think 4.
4. Okay. I mean, I definitely see that.
I think the only fight that doesn't go that has the chance of not going the distance is the female fight. Like I feel like that's the only fight that I feel like will go to the distance is that fight.
Honestly, the co-main, I feel like the co-main has a chance of going the distance. Gilbert Burns and Stephen Thompson.
Oh no, I think that's going to be a knockout.
I think that's a good shot.
And the thing is, all right, since we're talking about it, I just want to talk about it. So the co-main. The co-main, I'm really interested in this fight because obviously Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he has a unique fighting style. There's no one like him in the UFC. So he has an opportunity. If he beats Gilbert Burns, I think he jumps the line and is next in line to fight Usman. And the main reason why I say that is because Usman's beat literally everybody, and he's never fought Wonderboy Thompson. And people are saying that he might have the best chance of beating Usman because of his unique fighting style. Do I agree? No, I still think Usman beats him. But they're saying he has the best chance, right? Which is interesting. So I want to root for Stephen Thompson in that aspect, but I like Gilbert Burns. And I don't want to see Gilbert Burns lose a second one in a row, especially after losing in the fashion that he did against Usman. But that's the thing, is like these guys, Gilbert Burns before Usman was on a knockout spree. Like he had no remorse for anybody and he was just getting better and better. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he has a history of knocking dudes out because of his history. And I think last fight I can recall, he got knocked out by Anthony Pettis. But prior to that, he put up 2 really good fights, or I say 1, because the second one wasn't really that close, against Tyron Woodley. And I think he has the potential to, do really good things. So for that one, I don't really know who wins. But I'll just say, I'm going to say Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, just because of the potential matchups going forward, should he win.
No, I got Gilbert Burns. I think he's going to eat him alive on the ground. Even Thompson's no scrub, but I think Usman and Burns eat him up on the ground.
And I agree, and that's why I was saying, like, Burns, if he's smart, he'll take Thompson to the ground and not try to stand up, because that's Thompson's best chance of winning that fight is standing up. But only reason why I'm saying Wonderboy Thompson or predicting him to win is because of the possible matchups going forward. If Gilbert Burns loses, I feel like he can still fight a top 5 fighter in the division and still get back to the top. Wonderboy loses, I think he falls a lot further down. But if he wins, he catapults all the way to the top as well. Because now, if let's say he wins, Leon Edwards, who was next in line for a title shot, could fight Gilbert Burns. And then Wonderboy Thompson.
Well, unless he's champion.
Oh yeah, that's you, because the fight against Covington is not essentially official. But then Thompson could jump up too, so all the way to the top. So he has potential to go all the way up, or all the way down in a sense. Where
No,
Burns,
very
he can go slightly up, slightly down. Like it's not. I feel like his fall if he loses isn't as big. But I'm rooting for both guys here because I like both. All right. So I want Burns to win, but no, I think Burns is going to win, but I want Thompson to win because of, like I said, the possible matchups that go.
Yeah.
But being that we're talking about UFC, we're going to talk about Tough Enough. I know you're not as up to date with Tough Enough this season as I am, but I just want to talk about it. Obviously, I'm not going to say much spoilers this time around because you haven't watched it, but the Tough Enough this season, it brought nostalgia, the first 2 episodes that we talked about, because we haven't had it in some time. But it feels different. And the reason why it feels different, there's not as much drama, right? As in years past, where it makes things so much more interesting between the coaches. But yeah. I'll say this. So there's this instance where they start beefing. They don't, like, obviously get physical or anything like that. They just start, like, chatting back and forth, busting each other's balls and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, things are going to get interesting. Bro, it seems like it's more fun and games at this point than really beefing, because I don't want to spoil it, but then Ortega essentially in the next episode after that kind of just pranks Volkanovski, like his team pranked Volkanovski's team, and Volkanovski just laughs it off. It's like, this is fucking hilarious. Like, yeah. So it's not really like, it seems like more fun and games, and they're just making fun of like the situation, or making fun out of the situation rather than actually beefing and making drama. There's really not much drama between the fighters. They all seem buddy, which there's nothing wrong with that. It seems more focused on mixed martial arts in itself, which I'm happy for, because the athletes this season might be the best athletes we've seen as a collective in any season. But that drama that stirs things up and tends to bring the storyline, it just seems to be lacking that. I guess you can say it's lacking the oomph. But in terms of talent, the talent is there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there was a tiny bit of, like you said, there was a tiny bit of something brewing with Volkanovski and Ortega at one point in one of the episodes. But, I mean, I haven't been able to watch lately, but I don't know. I was hoping that it would brew into something nice,
It's not really brewing to nothing at all. I mean, Ortega pranked Volkanovski, and then now Volkanovski is like, oh, I'm going to get you back. So now it just seems like fun and games, like some high school shit, like senior year shit, when they do the senior prank or the senior games that they got going on. It seems like that. So it seems like all buddy.
Until Volkanovski takes his prank too far.
I hope he does, because then that just makes things interesting. But we're halfway through the season. So we're halfway through the season, and things are going to get more interesting in terms of the fights. So, since speaking, there's been 4 fights. And of those 4 fights, I'd probably say 2 of them were actually good fights. I might be pushing it. It might just be 1. But the last fight, that like in episode 6, was fire. Like, it was to the point where, like, I thought one team was like, they won. I was like, oh, it was a close 2 rounds. But I think this fighter won. And, like, I think he snuck it up when they were like, round 3. And I was like, oh, shit, that just means it's split. Like, because they only do round 3 if it's split. Yeah. And
you were like, I thought he won, but I'm not.
Oh, exactly. But then round 3 was very one-sided. And you could tell. So I was like, it still had me on the edge of my seat, where I was like, oh, I got to sit up for this one. Because, like, the time was just dwindling down, and I was like, all right, this is going to get more interesting. But the fight was dope. So the only thing that sucks is, like, when these guys lose, they have to stay in the house. But it's because of the possibility of a possible injury, because then they can re-enter, things of that nature. I don't know how the selection process is if there's injury occurs. Because in terms of Tough Enough, this is probably the most invested I've been in a season. But I'm interested to see if there's injuries and who steps up and ultimately fights. Because, like I said, in terms of a collective, these athletes probably are the best talent we've seen, and I'm very excited to see how the last two fights go, and how the first round essentially winds up with the records for these coaches, because, bro. All right, I'm just gonna say this, bro, because you didn't watch episode 3 when I said my homeboy was about to fight, bro. He's nice.
Who?
He's nice.
Which one? Which fighter?
The black dude.
Oh, I saw that fight. Yeah, I watched that.
Oh, bro, he's nice. He's nasty.
Yeah.
He's nasty. I truly hope he takes the cake because of his story in terms of him being homeless and things of that nature. I truly hope he wins. But I was, to be honest, I hated the episode. I hated the episode because like he just kept going to his teammate and they're boys. So he was like, "Yo, I promise you, like I'm not gonna give up." And he was like, "You can try to take me to the ground, but I'm with it." Like they just were like buddy, and he just kept saying, but bro, and I was like,
nah, yeah.
I was just annoyed.
It was like a friendly but competitive banter. It was I liked it. It was pretty cool. Like it seemed like they had a lot of respect for each other,
for sure.
But they also were letting each other know, like, you know, they're willing to do everything they can to win the fight. And
yeah, but I
thought that was pretty.
But I felt like they happened more than once. Like it was just repetitive, and then the fight happened, and I was like, "Oh, he means business." And then he was talking about how he cried the night the night before, right before the fight. I'm like, no, like he might lose. Like his mind's not there. But when he stepped in that fucking octagon, bro, he meant business. And I was like, all right. But if he continues to do this shit every single week, he fights, or every single episode that he fights, I'm honestly gonna be annoyed. Like that episode alone was probably the worst episode, or not the worst episode, my least favorite episode. But in terms of just the content outside of the fight, but that fight alone, in terms of performance, he might be number one. Like he might be thus far. But in terms of fights, that wasn't number one. Number one would be between I think it was the first bantamweight fight where Ortega's guy knocked off Volk's number one guy.
Oh, yep. That was episode 2.
Yep, that one would be up there, and then probably the most recent fight, episode 6, would probably be 1 and 2. Like,
yeah,
I'm telling you, bro, it was a dog fight. But I recommend you watch it. I recommend those fans watch are watch it as well. Things are getting interesting. But I told you in the beginning that we missed an episode, and because technical difficulties and stuff like that. So we're not just covering one sport. We talked about UFC, and we're going to talk about some Olympics and soccer as well. So Copa America final, European Championship final, they are finalized and they're ready to, take off. So personally, I would like to get your opinion here, since of us two, you're the soccer expert. So Copa America final, I'm truly excited for it because Brazil with Neymar is facing Argentina with Messi. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. But before I get your opinion, I'm just going to say, when I realized the matchup of Peru versus Brazil, I was just waiting for the match to happen. Because obviously Neymar's my favorite player. I don't really have a stake in the game. Like, I don't really care for Brazil. I just like Neymar. So I was waiting, and when it was the clock was dwindling down and Brazil ended up winning, I hit up Brendan or Brendan's fiance, Menelik, my friend, and I just sent the Brazil flag. and she was like, I hate you, and then I sent the Neymar pictures, and then she was trash talking me back, and I was like, I love this, like I love this kind of match. And then Brendan ended up putting up a post on Facebook, and I tweeted a gif of Neymar, but he didn't really respond but she responded for him, and which I loved it. Like it was just awesome. Like I was just fucking with him. Like it's all love, but After the fact, I was pretty upset because I didn't text Nico. I was like, wait, I could have texted Nico too. But...
Nah, you can't text Nico that type of stuff, man. Can't be sending him that type of negativity.
But to get your opinion on that matchup alone, and then we can talk about the Italy-England matchup right after.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm excited, especially because they're back-to-back days, Saturday, July 10th, Sunday, July 11th, 2 amazing games for amazing teams. I really want Argentina to win. Messi is, one of my favorite players in the game, if not my favorite player right now. And I just want to see him win. This is a huge cup, international cup. I want to finally see him win it. I mean, I feel like it's always been kind of tough for him to get by in Argentina. Obviously, like, it sounds weird saying that because when you look at Argentina, they have a really good roster. But it almost seems like when it comes to international play and playing for like the big cups, the Copa Americas, the World Cup and such, they kind of struggle really making it deep. I mean, obviously, aside from the fact that he played in a World Cup final just 2 World Cups ago, but like I said, it's just they seem to always struggle to get to a final or even to make it deep. And it's always, the story is always that, Messi, he needs help. I mean, that was just the case. And it's so upsetting to see, like, Messi needs help when they have such a talented roster, but it seems like they just can't, they can't get they can't do the necessary things on the field to go out and win games. But, they're doing that right now. And a big thing with these, a big thing for me, and for everybody with these, Copa America and European Championships, obviously it's split. You know what I mean? You got the South and North American teams in one, then you got like the Euros is all the European teams. So obviously they're not playing all the best teams, but it's a good gauge on kind of who we're gonna see competing in the last few games of the World Cup. So I think I'm excited, I'm excited just to see that Argentina is doing so well. Because obviously when you start to add the European teams, things do become a lot more difficult, but it gives you a good idea that Argentina is where they need to be right now.
Yeah. And I'm happy you broke that down because I was just going to ask you, like, what's the difference between these tournaments? So the fact that you said it was like, South America and then European, it makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's continue. Like exactly. So it's like the Americas of the world and then the Euros. So obviously they're split, but when you're doing so well that you're the top in South America, you're showing other teams like we're ready for the World Cup. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like and obviously it's only South America, but Brazil is up there with some of the best teams in the world, and that includes the European teams as well. So if they're able to go out there and beat Brazil in this final, that's huge for them. Because if they're capable of beating Brazil in the final of the Copa America, like I said, obviously the European teams are great, and you got to add all those extra games against them. But that means if they're capable of beating Brazil, they're capable of beating anybody in Europe as well. And so that's why I'm really excited to see this game, is just to kind of gauge exactly where Argentina is. Because I'm really excited. Like I said, I think Messi is one of my favorite players. I just really want to see him win a big international tourney. So. But I want Argentina to win this game. I don't know that they will. I think Brazil is a little bit better as a team. But yeah, I definitely want to see Argentina win, and I'm gonna go with Argentina, based strictly off of that.
So I'm excited for this matchup alone because my 2 favorite players are Neymar and Messi, and big time was because when I was first introduced to professional soccer, they both played on Spain, and I liked Spain.
Barcelona.
Apologies. Barcelona. And they both played, and I was like, oh, yes. That's why they became my 2 favorite players. And that's why I have, a spot in my heart for Barcelona, although Barcelona is not my favorite team, because I'll explain, is when...
Boo.
No. So Barcelona is my second favorite team. But my first favorite team is PSG, primarily because now that I've, I'm starting to become a bigger fan, Neymar's on PSG, and he's my favorite player. They also have my third favorite player, Mbappe. But I also love their jerseys, and that's a big reason that convinced me. I'm a big jersey guy. So their jerseys, they probably have the best jerseys in soccer. If not the best jerseys, they are up there, and and that's a big reason that kind of, convinced me to go that way. But this, in terms of this matchup, I love it. It's both those guys, and I really don't care who wins, to be honest. But
yeah,
just because of that, like I would love to see either guy win, but I kind of am I'm low key rooting for Messi to win more because of his legacy. I feel like he has more on the line for his legacy. Not saying that his legacy is not already, great, but
no, I get you 100%.
But this is a big event, and there's always those fans that say that Messi can't finish. This is his opportunity to finish, and if he finishes, that just adds on to his legacy as it is. Like Neymar is still young, relatively young. He still has years to make up for losing the Copa America. Should he losing the Champions League, like he still has opportunities. Whereas Messi, his opportunities are a lot more minimized, and that's kind of why I'm rooting for Messi in this instance. But like I said, I can really care less who wins because I have a favorite player on both teams, so I got no beef against the other. But yeah.
I mean, but before you shift, I completely agree with what you said. I mean, based on the fact that, like you said, Neymar's relatively young. Not to mention also the fact that, like I said, I mean, Argentina kind of always struggles with their squad as a unit. So we don't know how much longer they're going to be able to keep up with this type of form. Whereas Brazil is always, I'm not to say that Argentina is not always up there either, because they are. But like I said, they're just not always in the form that a Brazil team is capable of being in. You know what I mean? Brazil is one of the top countries when it comes to soccer, and that's for a reason. They always have some of the best players in the world. So that's why, for me, that's another big reason. I completely agree. I think Neymar has so many more opportunities, available to him, obviously barring any crazy career-ending injuries, God forbid. But that's another reason he has so many more opportunities to go out there and win big titles. Like I said, I just want to see Messi, kind of like you said, go out there and get the job done. Tired of hearing the critics say that he can't, because obviously he can. He's done it before. It's just hard when it comes to international play, and I don't think he's solely at fault. I don't think he's even, a big part of the reason. Like I said, I think it's just Argentina football hasn't been. It's been at a good level, but it's not been at the top level that it needs to be. And
For sure.
I think this is their chance to kind of show that they mean business. They're trying to win this Copa America to show that the rest of the world, like, we won this Copa America. Now, when these World Cups come, like the World Cup comes, we're trying to take that too. So I think beating Brazil is a great start.
For sure, it'll help build their confidence moving forward. Not saying that it'll do much, but confidence. We've seen just in the NBA alone, like the Hawks, like defeating these teams, being the underdog, and defeating them builds confidence. And when they follow the lead of their leader, like the role players follow the lead of their leader. Trae Young, he had a bunch of swag. He had really no remorse. He didn't really care for anybody. And the Hawks just kind of took that in and embraced it, like the role players, and they just followed suit. So in this case, if they win, they're going to obviously follow suit of Messi. But if they win, it builds confidence moving forward. Like, like you said, if we can beat Brazil, we can beat anybody in the World Cup. So that confidence could honestly take them far, or it might not. But before we shift over, I just want to say, because I mentioned PSG and they're my favorite team, Sergio Ramos is coming to PSG, and that's a bigger reason why I should have wrote to Nico the Brazil flag, because he was trying to shit on my on my good moment. I mean, he said that it doesn't even matter because PSG's not going to win the Champions League anyway. Like he's like, it's a good pickup, but it's not going to make a difference. Like,
yeah, no, I think it'll make a difference, but how much of a difference, I'm not sure.
It's a big sign. That's the only reason why I wanted to mention it.
No, def. But with that being said, to move on to the Euro Finals, which is obviously, like I said, back-to-back days, July 11th on Sunday. Italy versus England. I'm a little bit sad because my team got knocked out by Italy.
You seem like a sad panda.
Yeah, I was very upset watching that game and, getting all the way to penalties.
So that's the game that went down to the wire that everyone was talking about?
There was a few of them, but Italy and Spain went to penalties. Italy actually missed their first one, and I said out loud to myself, all we have to do now is make all of ours. I said it's that simple, but it's not.
You jinxed yourself. You shouldn't have said nothing.
I shouldn't have. I said that to myself, and then literally our first guy missed his penalty as well, so we evened it back up. And then down the line we ended up missing another one. They made theirs and they won. So they beat us on penalties 4-2, I believe it was. And yeah, I was very sad.
Wait, and then England, didn't they play France?
No, England played. Yeah, I forget who England played. Not Denmark. I'm losing it. I'll look right now. I'll tell you.
Because I know France got knocked out. Not early, but relatively early, or earlier than people were expecting.
No, they didn't play France. I forget who they played, and they literally just played.
They got a
Denmark. It was
that. So that's the game that I'm talking about. Everyone was talking about that game. Like that game was down to the wire. They were talking about fans' reactions and like that's me right now, or even people who didn't really they were just fans of the game. They didn't really have a favorite team in the match. They were like glued to the television. Like it was that good of a game.
I knew Henry Kane fucking scored a penalty in an extra time to win it. So who do you have? It was very close.
I know your heart's already broken because Spain lost. But are you siding with Italy because they beat Spain, or are you going to side with England in this one?
Well, I'm sided with Italy, not solely based off the fact that they won against Spain. Obviously, it's a big reason. They beat us. I'd like to see them win, just because they beat us. I like Italy. Obviously, it's always nice to say, yeah, we lost to the champion. But at the same time, I was kind of, reading a little bit, obviously scrolling through, social medias and such. And I saw this one picture, and it was like, respect to Italy because, they don't have that flashy young superstar. Obviously, they have so many talented players. Like, Italy's, a giant. Italy's a soccer giant.
Jorginho, I think that's who his name.
Jorginho, yeah, the Chiellini. They have a lot of guys, but they have a lot of good players. But a lot of older guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't have that good young superstar striker that's going to score you 3 goals a game for you. Like, they don't have that guy right now. They're just a solid unit of good soccer players that, like I said, a lot of experience on that team. I just really want to see them win it. I think it's really cool that they were able to, Italian Giants were able to get to another huge final like this, and just, and like I said, especially when they don't have that flashy guy like a lot of these teams do. A lot of these teams are, pushing out these young, talented dudes who are, capable of doing everything. And Italy's like, we're just fucking playing soccer out here. Like, we're just. So I think it's just cool to see. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I really want Italy to win. obviously, like I said, we lost to them, so it's cool to say we lost to the champs as a consolation prize for me. But no, I just think it's cool to see how they're playing such good team football. And obviously, it doesn't hurt. My boy Nico is while he is a Peruvian. He's Peruvian. He's also half Italian. So he has two teams. One in Copa America, Peru, who made it very far. Obviously, aren't winning it, but he also has Italy to root for in the European Championships. Also another reason. I'd like to see.
The funny thing is, I didn't know that. I thought he was just Peruvian.
Yeah,
but before you said that, I was gonna shout out to my Italians. I'm siding with you guys on this one, but I didn't realize Nico is Italian, but I do know hella Italians. So in this instance, shout out to you Italians. I'm with you on this one.
No, I definitely would like to see Italy win. And like I said, they're a good, solid team. And, they're playing good football, and like I said, it's just cool to see that they're not, they don't have that flashy, those flashy young dudes, but they're fucking getting the job done.
Yeah, Maj is half Italian as well, and I seen him basically rooting for him. So go Italy. But
go Italy.
But to shift over to our last topics, we're talking about the fucking Olympics. All right, they seem like a bunch of fucking. It seems like a shit show going on over there because they are trending for all of the wrong reasons. Starting off, before we even get started, this was just announced within the hour. So it said delayed 2020 Summer Olympics will take place under COVID-19 state of emergency. So the Olympics will not have fans because of a spike in new cases in Japan, where the Olympics are taking place, including the Delta variant. So basically, it seems like it's the bubble Olympics. That's what it seems like. There's no fans due to COVID, which sucks. It truly does, because everyone's rooting for that. But before we get into the lovey-dovey basketball Olympics, I know this was a hot topic around, and I wasn't going to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it. So, Sha'Carri Richardson, if you guys don't know, she's on Team USA track and field. She tested positive for.
She's a runner. She's a track.
She tested positive for marijuana after she broke the record in the 100-meter qualifier, and she got suspended due to her testing positive for marijuana. Now, she only got suspended for 30 days, so a month. And the thing is, her 30 days. So she does two events. She does the 100-meter and she does the relay. Whereas the 100-meter, you need to qualify. You need within the top 3 in the qualifier to be able to compete in the Olympics. Which, with her suspension, she's disqualified, so she can't compete in that regardless. But her 30 days suspension was to expire prior to the relay event, so she was going to be able to run the relay event. However, Team USA track and field just announced the rosters, and she wasn't even on the roster, so they clearly want to lose.
I don't think they'll lose, but yeah.
Well, Jamaica's out there, bro. Yeah, she was pretty much their anchor. She was the last line of defense, and we know how fast she is. She was going to win it for us, but they clearly want to lose. But
I think the U.S. is still capable of beating out countries like Jamaica, who obviously always have good runners as well. But
now we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. What is your opinion on this Sha'Carri Richardson suspension? I know we're on two sides of the... Well, not really, but we are. But what's your opinion on it?
So, you kind of know my opinion. We had this conversation. But for the viewers at home, I will tone it down a little bit. I think it's... I mean, I get it. Like, I do get it. I'm not, incapable of grasping, like I'm not incapable of grasping it. Like I understand. It's a rule. Like rules are rules. She knew the rules. She shouldn't have done it. Like 100%. I understand it. Like I get it. But it's a stupid rule. Like period. Like it's a dumb rule. And for me, that's the be all end all of it. Like it's a stupid rule. Why is it a rule? I get it. It's a rule. I know she knew it was a rule. She shouldn't have done it. I get it. Like, that's the argument I keep hearing. She knew it was a rule. Why'd she do it? She knew it was, like, I get it. But it's a stupid rule. Period. Like, like, it's so weird to me how, like, I just don't understand, like, why are we making, like, marijuana out to be, like, this insane, like, drug? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's weird to me, like, it's so weird to me. Like how it's just like so socially unacceptable to like smoke weed. But then you literally have people dying every day from getting killed from people who are under the influence of alcohol behind the wheel or just in general. Like people freaking get drunk every day and go home and hit their wives and their kids. Like I really don't understand it. I think it's a bad rule. I get it. She knew it was a rule. She shouldn't have done it. Like, I completely understand. It's just a stupid rule. Like, and that, for me, should be the end of it. I think they should have fucking got rid of that shit a long time ago. It's starting to be legalized in nearly every state in this country. One of the toughest, commissions, the Nevada State Athletic Commissions, just literally 2 days ago, or it might have been yesterday or 2 days ago, just announced that they're no longer punishing people for marijuana, which is huge. I just think it's crazy. Like, what is taking so long for us to just progress past this? Like, why is this such an issue? And for me, that's really the be all end all of it. Like I say, like I get it. It's a rule. Follow the rules when they're rules. Like, she knew it was a rule.
All right.
But, like, come on now. Like, why are we... why? Like, who gives a shit?
Okay. So, I'm sorry, but she knew it was a rule.
Oh, my.
No, but all jokes aside, it's honestly the stigma surrounding marijuana. And it is dating back in the day when they considered it a gateway drug. And I'm not one that does these kind of drugs. So I don't have personal experience. But I do know the benefits of, marijuana. Whether that be the CBD aspect or just the THC aspect. But the CBD aspect, though, is very helpful. Like, a lot of athletes speak out and they're trying to push marijuana on these professional leagues, saying that it's better than these painkillers that they're feeding them. Because doctors are quick to, give you a handful of painkillers with no issue, and there's hella repercussions for it in the long and
slowly killing you. Because then you become addicted.
Whereas marijuana or just CBD alone doesn't, and it honestly, there's a beneficiary to it all. Now, I'm in agreement with you in saying it's a stupid rule and that it shouldn't be a thing because it shouldn't. Like, it's not a so I read up on it and I read an article. I don't have the article in front of me, I believe. So there's 3 rules that are, so there's a checklist. So in order to be on the banned substance list, you need to check off at least 2 of those checklists, or on
2 of those.
2 of those, at least 2 of those 3 to be on the banned substance list. And I read those, and after I read those, I was like, yeah, marijuana should not be on this list because if anything, marijuana checks off 1, and that's pushing. That's honestly pushing it. Like, it might not even check off any, like at that.
Do you remember off the top of your head what the 3 were? Because I didn't know that there were like 3 requirements. So this is the first time hearing this.
One of them was it enhances your performance.
Okay,
it doesn't
do that.
And then
I told you I fucking get on Call of Duty on fucking marijuana and I'm fucking terrible.
Hold on, Olympic being. Yeah. So, what I was so. Hold on. So I don't even know where I read this. I know I was at work yesterday and I read it while I was kind of on my break. Kinda, not really, but but I can't find it right now. But just know if I find it, I'll send it to you. But right now, for time's sake, it doesn't even check off at least 2. If anything, it checks off 1 max. So it shouldn't be on the list at all, and I'm in agreement. So, but I also read another article that in recent years they made a compromise with marijuana and they hired the threshold. So basically, if you don't exceed the threshold, you're good. And the threshold is so high that like you can honestly just pass as long as you don't smoke the day of the event. So in this case, she must have smoked on the day of the event because...
Or the day of testing?
They test you the day of the event.
Oh, okay. I thought it... Okay.
That's why I think they test you... I
think
they test you immediately
like
after.
Immediately after?
Yeah. So I think they test you immediately after the event, and she tested positive. So she must have did it the day of. So now I know, but she knew the rules. Like, so that's my issue. So I have a problem with the rule, and but I don't have a problem with the so. I have a problem with the rule, and I feel like she should be able to run, and I was hoping that they were going to let her run, but I understand the suspension. And when I say understand the suspension, like every professional athlete, whatever sport they play, they know the rules heading into the event, and they know like approximately around what time they're going to get tested, right? Unless it's random, but they know.
Yes. So
you know the rules going in, and you know what rules you have to abide by to qualify. Like the Olympics is one in a lifetime chance essentially for the average athlete. Like so when they get a chance, it's something they want to go and do. So in this instance, like going in, you knew the rules and what you needed to abide by to qualify, and you didn't. And although yes, people are using the death of her mother as justification, and I understand why she would do it, but it's not justification for like this. Like she knew like the event was at this time, and she was going to end up getting tested, and she still pursued to do it. And what I liked about it though, she took accountability for it. I respect it 100% because not everyone will do it. Everyone will come out and make excuses, yada yada yada. But she deadass was like, I knew, and she said it. I knew the rules. I did what I had to do. And that's all. And what I love about it even more, Nike went out there and said, we back her 100%, we're not dropping her. And the reason why I love that, because everyone keeps trying to make the comparison of Michael Phelps. And I hate the comparison because Michael Phelps actually got punished a lot harder than she did. And I think she got punished for less because it was proven that she did it outside of the sport, and it wasn't for like performance based. Like it wasn't to enhance her performance. So Michael Phelps, I believe, got suspended 3 months, and he lost endorsements and stuff like that because of it. Whereas she didn't lose any endorsements, and it was only 30 days. And she had the opportunity to run the relays if she was selected on the roster, but Team USA is stupid and didn't select her. So I 100% agree the rule's stupid. It needs to be changed. And I think it's moving that direction. I mean, they already raised the threshold for it. But until then, you got to abide by the rules. And in this instance, she didn't, and she got the suspension. Now, do I think she's going to bounce back and be even better? I do. I think she's already a great athlete, and she's going to become an even greater athlete because of it. She's still fucking so young. She's like 20.
19.
Yeah, she's like 20 years old.
20. Yeah, so I will say this. One, about the Michael Phelps thing. It doesn't really bother. I mean, obviously it sucks that Michael Phelps lost endorsements. The thing about Michael Phelps is I'm pretty sure he got suspended for 3 months, and it wasn't even during an Olympic season. So, I mean, whatever. Obviously, like I said, it's a stupid rule, so I still feel the same way about the Michael Phelps situation.
Yeah.
I obviously, on top of the fact that he didn't even test positive, it was a picture.
Yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah, so I think it was still stupid, but the fact that it wasn't during Olympic season, I can get over it. He didn't lose any. Obviously, he lost endorsements. That sucks, but he didn't lose the ability to compete, and that's what really bothers me in terms of this one. Is I feel like she lost her ability to compete. I mean, obviously it's not a done deal. They still have to compete, but everybody practically knew like she was taking it. You know what I mean? Like she's fucking a great athlete. Like she was taking it. So that's what really bothers me the most. But also I did want to say like. I feel like it seems like everybody, regardless of what side of the spectrum you're on, we all agree that it's a stupid rule. It seems. Most people, at least that I've heard from. Whether you say, rules are rules, she should have known, or, it's a stupid rule, I don't know why they're doing it. Regardless of what spectrum you're on, it seems like everybody agrees that it's a stupid rule. So with that being said, I think we can also agree, while we're saying rules, it's, the outrage is still necessary. Yeah. Because, in my opinion, if there aren't people that don't have outrage about it,
change does happen.
Then the rules don't change. So, regardless of how you feel, I feel like you should still agree that the outrage is necessary. Because if you think it's a stupid rule, but you don't understand why people are outraged, that's your reason. If the people aren't mad about it, they're just going to keep leaving it. And people are going to keep getting suspended for something that we all agree is stupid.
Yeah. So, all that you said, it's, becoming legal in the States, and it's soon to be legal in every state. It's not legal everywhere around the world. And in this case, it makes sense that way because it's the Olympics, it's worldwide. So, like, for example, it's in Japan. And in Japan, they are no joke about, marijuana. Like, So it would make sense why it would be banned for this Olympics specifically because it's in Japan. I feel like it should take place for, where it's taking place, but they also have to have a set of rules for everybody because let's say steroids are legal in other countries but not legal here. And, like, now what? So I guess you got to make a level playing field. So it makes sense why they have banned substance lists. However, I don't think this should be on the list. So I found the list, the checklist. All right. So one is it has the potential to enhance or enhances sport performance. No. It doesn't. 2, it represents an actual or potential health risk to the athlete. 3, it violates the spirit of the sport.
I guess you could argue that one, but I guess that's just more so your stance on marijuana.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If anything, it would check off 1 max. So
yeah, you could.
So the risk one though, it could be potential risk for some people, and it depend. I think it depends on the event you run, or not the event you run, the event you do. So let's say you do track and field, but what is it called when you have the ball?
I forget, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so in that instance, it might be a bigger risk under the influence of marijuana than a track and field in itself, right? But just because it does slow down your reaction time and things of that nature. But again, though, I think the pros outweigh the cons, and it's not really much of a risk. But I can understand certain events being a higher risk than others. But like I said, of this 3, if any, a checklist is like 1 max, and that's doubtful. Like I don't even think a checklist any like. That's
what I'm saying. You might be able to argue
the spirit
for it one way or the other. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. That's more so what your stance is on. Yeah. You could view it as something that's horrible. You know what I mean?
I guess it depends on, like you said, your stance, but that could also play a factor on the demographics of like where you live and things like that. Because Japan is 100% against it. So that's that. But to move on from that, Luka Doncic did say that he would much rather win the gold medal for his country than the NBA championship. How do you how do you feel about that statement?
I mean, I completely. I'm not gonna say I agree.
Yes.
Obviously, the way I see it, like if I'm an NBA player, I'm American. Like I'm American.
Yeah.
So if I were to play for the Olympics, I'd be on Team USA. So for me, obviously it's a big feat playing for your country. But for me, it wouldn't be the biggest feat. Winning that finals would be because, it's the finals. When you're Team USA, you're used to winning gold medals. I mean, and it's not like
you should.
I don't mean
win gold medals, not used to.
Yeah, and I don't mean like in every category, but when it comes to basketball, like you can't ignore how dominant Team USA is in terms of basketball. I mean, there are very few countries that can compete, and even the ones that can, they compete. Like Spain, Argentina. Like Spain was capable of taking away a gold from Team USA, but it doesn't happen often. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it happens, but not very often. But looking at it from Luka's perspective, I completely understand it. He plays for a team that literally just qualified for the first time ever.
And I think he's the only NBA player on the team too.
Yeah, and he's the sole purpose for the reason they qualified to even go.
I wouldn't say sole purpose because they have multiple Euro MVPs on their team. He's just the only NBA player that's on the team.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say sole purpose. Obviously, you have a team for a reason, but
he's the leader.
I mean, he's a huge part of that reason that they've qualified. They never have before until he's, you know what I mean. So like, huge part of the reason. But again, like I just mentioned, Team USA is stacked. And for good reason. They always have the best roster for the Olympics. And so I completely understand his perspective of saying that would be a bigger accomplishment and a bigger feat. Because if he's able to win the gold, that means somewhere along the lines he probably had to defeat Team USA or even a team that beat Team USA. So, yeah, that's fucking way bigger for him than winning an NBA championship. Obviously, like I said, as a basketball player, your biggest goal is to win an NBA championship. But when you're from a country like that, like I said, just qualified, like, for me, from his perspective, if I'm Luka Doncic, hell yeah. I want to smack Team USA. I want to win that gold. Like, that is a huge feat. And in my opinion, if he were out there to go and win a gold, like obviously he doesn't have an NBA championship right now, but if he were to go out there and win a Olympic gold medal, like you can argue he's one of the best players in the league right now solely based off of that.
Oh, like, I mean, you can argue that without the gold medal, but
exactly, and that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, when I'm looking at it from my perspective, no, you know what I mean. But from his perspective, I completely understand.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on this one because with being American in the NBA, you're playing the best of the best. Whether it's worldwide, doesn't matter. You're playing the best of the best. And that's why NBA Championship is so highly regarded. However, like you said, if you're on Team USA, you should, like, expectations for you going into the Olympics, you should win the gold. Not saying that you're used to winning the gold, because there's times where Team USA didn't win the gold. But you typically they grab one of the medals, typically. But you should win the gold. Like, there's no question about it. But from someone that's European and also coming from on a team where you're the only NBA player on the team, like like that, and then you got, like you said, you either got to play Team USA or you got to play a team that played them already. Like, so for you to win a gold medal and represent your country, like he mentioned, it's a big accomplishment in itself. So representing your country is huge. And I think that's a big reason why he said what he said. And those that are blowing what he said out of proportion, there's no point in my opinion. Because it's not saying that he doesn't want to win the NBA championship. He's saying if he had to pick one or the other, he would pick a gold medal because what it means for his country. So, okay, go.
Yeah. and I was gonna say, and also, I mean, you got to think like as patriotic of a country, and I just put in quotes because patriotism can literally be whatever you consider it to be. But as patriotic as this country is considered to be, people also forget how other people from other countries tend to feel about their country as well. Like anybody that I've ever met who isn't from the United States of America, Nico, who is Peruvian, Kevin, who's Mexican, they have a lot of pride in where they're from. It's just how it always is.
For sure.
And so, to go out there and say that you were able to bring a gold medal to your team from a country like Slovenia, I'm sure he's so proud to be from Slovenia, to go out there and help them get a gold.
Yeah.
Even if he were to get a bronze or a silver, I mean, he'd probably be ecstatic. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I guess. But it's an achievement in itself just to make it that far.
Dude, getting a silver is not easy. Like I said, I mean, Spain's always had a good roster. Argentina's always had a good roster.
So, my next question, we mentioned Team USA, and I'm not going to go through the roster like I was going because of time restrictions, but I want to get your opinion on the roster in itself, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty disappointed in the group of guys that we came up with. Not saying that they're scrubs, because like I mentioned, they should grab a medal, but I feel like the NBA or the USA could have done better in terms of gathering the roster, you can say, around the league. There's some guys that I don't even think should have made the roster at all.
So what exactly do you mean by that?
Like, what are your opinions of the roster? Like, because I feel like some of these guys on this list shouldn't have been on the roster at all.
So I think a big part of it is so obviously looking at the list, it's clearly not one of the better teams that Team USA has put out there. I completely agree with that. But I don't think that is the fault specifically of Team USA. I think more players are starting to opt out of wanting to play for Team USA. I think a big part of that reason is, letting younger guys get a shot. Also, on top of the fact that the Paul George injury, I feel like changed a lot in terms of players' point of views and how they feel about wanting to go out there and basically risking, injury, risking their careers. Obviously, it's so important to go, like we said, it's great to go out there, play for your country, win a gold medal. But for Team USA guys, it's like we said, I mean, we're so used to winning gold. It's not as big of an accomplishment as going out there to win an NBA title. And that's why there's so much outrage in what Lucas said, is because people don't see it from his perspective.
Yeah.
We see it from ours. And so we can't really have that outrage and saying, how can you, value this gold medal over, NBA championship? But then on the same side of the coin, we don't understand why our players are sitting out. And it's because they don't value that gold medal the same way that players used to.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a big part of it. So I don't think the roster is as good as it can be, obviously. Like, there's so many players you could throw on this roster. There's a ton of them. But like I said, a lot of guys are scared of risking that injury. And also the fact that I think, we already had such a short turnaround from season to season, and then basically going from this season to next season and then right into Olympic basketball, I feel like it has to do with it as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest roster we've put out there. More than capable of winning a gold medal again, like we said. Like, they've always have a talented roster. But I think it just has to do with a lot of different things that players are kind of opting to not play. Yeah. And so, obviously, while not being the greatest roster, I don't necessarily blame Team USA for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's not one of the best rosters that they put out. And that's exactly why I'm disappointed. Do I think they'll win a medal? Yes. Do I think they'll win a gold medal? They should.
Yes.
They should, but I don't want to say yes. But they should. And the reason why I say I don't want to say that they will, because just looking at the roster, I feel like they're very undersized. And that may work against them. but I do think that this group of guys can literally drop 150 on anybody in the world. So that's my thing. So in terms of the size, I think that'll work against them defensively, but offensively, this group is talented. Like you got Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum. The way Chris Middleton is playing, like you mentioned Bradley Beal. Like these guys are scorers. Like they can drop 30.
Bradley Beal could give you 50.
I'm saying each guy I named can literally drop you 30.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
In the same game.
Easy. No problem.
And that's what I'm saying. So I think they'll outscore everybody, and why I think they'll win the gold. Like they should, but I don't want to say they will, because there's always that possibility.
Oh no, I don't. I'm not saying they will either, but I think they will.
I think they just are undersized, and that might hurt them in the long run. But I was just disappointed when they put out the list. Like, prime example, Jeremy Grant is on the roster, right? But he was the one that took the last roster spot, and he basically it was because James Harden said he was going to do it, and then opted out last minute because of his injury. So let's say James Harden was supposed to be on the roster. Like, that's another guard. I feel like this roster is very guard heavy. There's not really many forwards or even centers. Kevin Love is my biggest problem though. It's like, dude, not saying he's a scrub. Like, he's still a talented big in the league, but the dude hasn't really played in the past 2 years for the Cavaliers. But you're gonna go play for the Olympics? Like. Yeah. That's where I'm just confused on why he even had the opportunity to be on the roster. I know Pop said that Kevin Durant was a must, and that he was gonna go knocking on his door, pleading for him to be on the Olympics if he had turned it down originally. But I'm happy KD's on it because he brings some continuity in a sense, because he's, I believe, already won 3 gold medals for Team USA.
Yeah.
So this would be nice, especially because he already missed a year or year and a half of basketball. So for him to continue the season that he already had with the Nets and bring it to the Olympics, it's good for the country. It's good for basketball. But if I'm a Nets fan or like anyone within the Nets organization, you're probably upset that he's out there.
Yeah. No, I think it was huge for that Kevin Durant was a part of the team. Obviously, he's one of the top three players in the league, probably the best player in the league right now. And for me, when you're looking at this roster, like, obviously it's stacked. It's a talented roster, like, there's no doubt about it. But I think it's honestly very important that you have at least one of the top 3 guys in the league. And if you lose Kevin Durant, I don't think you have any of those guys on your roster. So I think that was obviously, like you said, and like Pop was stressing, like, it's important for them to have Kevin Durant on the team. Yeah. Because Team USA has not won golds with better rosters than this. And so it's definitely possible that they, could not win a gold. But like I said, I mean, very talented roster. Through and through. Obviously, there are some guys that could be replaced with other guys, but I just think it was more so due to the fact that all the opt-outs, all the injuries, everything. I mean, just the short season, people wanting to finally get a break. But I think they're more than capable of winning the gold. They not only have a lot of good offensive scorers. I think Draymond Green is quiet yet solid.
Yeah,
part of this team. Not quiet because he's not quiet, but he's a very solid part of this team.
I think he's gonna play. I think, to be honest, I think he might play the biggest role because 100%. he's gonna have to play the small ball 5. He's gonna have to play the 4. He's gonna have like probably the biggest defensive assignment of any of these guys. Like, he's gonna be the heart of the team. And he might not be the leader, but he's gonna be the heart of the team.
No, I think he will be the leader. I mean, looking at the list, who on this list is more of a vocal guy than Draymond Green? Not a single. I don't think a single person.
You
don't
on necessarily have to be a vocal guy to be a leader, though. Like, that's what I'm saying, is that you might not not be the leader of the team, but he's gonna be the heart and soul of the team. Like, it's similar to the Warriors. Like, the Warriors, he's not the leader, but he's the heart and soul of the team because.
He's the captain for sure, though. But that's the thing, though. For me, the captain, the leader, doesn't have to be the best player. Not necessarily, because he's
But
not.
he's
I mean,
gonna-
there's a lot of guys on this list that are better than him. But he's if I'm making anybody a captain of this team, it's Draymond Green.
Like I said, he's going to play the most. His role is probably the most pivotal of anybody's. Because I think he has a lot more on his plate. He might not do much offensively, but he doesn't necessarily have to. Yeah, I think a lot is riding on Draymond Green. So hopefully Team USA could pull this off. We're kind of running up on time at this point. I was going to mention the Olympics. I mentioned how they were in the news for bad. Like, they were in the news for all the wrong reasons. And one of the reasons I forgot to mention was the swimming event. So they basically banned a specific kind of swimming caps that African American women or men tend to wear due to their hair. It was basically a bigger swimming cap to fit all their hair. They basically banned it and said that it's unnecessary and it's not really like head shape and stuff like that. I felt like, I don't want to make it a racial thing, but it was a racial thing. Like,
no, I mean, it definitely is.
I feel like the swimming cap, whether the size of the swimming cap shouldn't really matter. It's not like it's enhancing anything.
Yeah, and I saw another report that apparently they were saying that, plenty of Olympic swimmers shave their hair and, their hair and their body hair to, kind of make up for that and be more aerodynamic and stuff. But I don't feel like as an athlete you should have to sacrifice, your hair, the hair on your head, when you're more than capable of wearing a fucking cap. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and like you said, you don't want to make it a racial thing, but it really is. I mean, I just don't see the point in banning a hair cap.
Yeah.
Like, there's no advantages to wearing a specific hair cap. There's nothing that gives you any kind of leeway or advantage or anything.
It
was really pointless.
Yeah, it's just a swim cap that is not as small, so it's able to fit more of your hair. So like, it just, I felt like it was clearly targeting a certain particular group, and that's why I said it is a racial thing, even though I don't really want to make it out to be one. It is one. And I was going to talk about other things too, but we can save that for another episode. But thank you guys for tuning in for this long. We try to cover as much sports as possible, being that we missed some time. But, we're going to be back next week. We're going to talk about some MLB next week because it is All-Star weekend, or All-Star break in a sense. I think the All-Star game is next Tuesday. So we'll be recapping that next week. And, NBA Finals is right now, Game 1. The Suns took it, you can say, pretty convincingly, in a sense. I think Game 2 is tonight. So, to end the episode, who wins Game 2?
The Bucks.
Okay.
They got I feel like in the finals, you can't go down. You can go down 2-0, but in the finals, I don't think the Bucks want to go down 2-0. I don't think Giannis didn't have a bad game. I don't think he had the best game.
Yeah.
He didn't have a bad game though by any means. So I do look for him to have a bigger game. Chris Middleton also played a big role in Game 2. I think if he's able to put up what he did in Game 1 and Game 2, and Giannis is capable of having a bigger game, which I know he is, I think they'll definitely be more than capable of winning Game 2.
Yeah, so I predicted Suns in 6. So I'll say the Suns win tonight, and I'll say the Bucks will come back and win both on their floor, and then the Suns will win the next 2 after that. But so I'm gonna ride with the Suns. The CP3, Ayton, and Booker all had a great game 1. I'm expecting that to continue, especially on their home floor. So Suns going up 2-0 in my opinion tonight.
Ayton almost had a 2020 game, and Chris Paul stole his rebound. I don't know if you saw the video of Devin Booker. He was like,
"Nah, I didn't see that." But
he had a 20.
He highlighted him though in his post press conference. So post game press conference. So you mentioned him being the dark horse MVP, Finals MVP. He's performing like it. And although I thought Booker was going to take it,
That's why he stole that rebound. He's like, you can't have a 2020. You can't have a 2020 game. I need this MVP.
No, but I'm happy. I'm happy for them. It's a great story, and it's gonna be a great story either way, whoever takes it. But it's definitely dope. But that's all we have for you guys today. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We hope you guys stayed to the very end. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're tuning in via audio, or just leave us a review, honestly. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. If you're on the YouTube channel, make sure to comment about anything. We want to interact with you guys, with all you guys. You could even hit us up on social media and comment on any of our posts. Appreciate that. And before we go, like I mentioned at the top of the show, go check out our Tyshawn James interview. It was a dope interview, and we just want to, shed some light on him and his ability and his career at CCSU leading up to the NFL. And you already know, show love to him on his social media pages, because he's going places. And until next time, peace.
Deuces.
You're talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep. We're talking about balls deep in love. I'm talking about balls deep. My boy's talking about balls deep. We're talking about balls deep in love.